My name is Cyrus Parsa. I'm the founder of the AI organization. And the purpose of the AI organization is to assess any risks or dangers and give consultation to the threats of artificial intelligence and anything related to it, such as 5G, 6G grid systems, quantum technology, robotics and drones, and et cetera, particularly as it pertains to the Chinese Communist Party. Thus, before the pandemic started and hit, I published a few books. The last one was this one here, Artificial Intelligence Dangers to Humanity. And basically it covers over 50 companies, half are Chinese and half are Western, and explains the threats that they pose, especially mixing humans and animals that can create disease, and the world domination plan of the Chinese Communist Party with technology and how they use big tech companies. Through forced tech transfer, through espionage, plagiarism, stealing, and of course, collaboration with our big tech companies, our universities, even media outlets and corporations, they've been able to extract not just American and European company data and know-how and skills to build the AI infrastructure, but they've gathered the entire world's data in many different ways, as I describe in this book. And by bringing the data together, and once they hook up to the 5G towers and even 6G systems, and it can mobilize machines, drones, robots, and even bioengineered and cybernetically enhanced soldiers. This way, they can rule the BRI. BRI is Belt and Road Initiative, or One Belt, One Road. It's the old Silk Road. So the old Silk Road, it connected the Persian Empire to the Chinese Empire, and then to Europe, or Eastern Europe, to be more accurate. Well, the new Silk Road, it's a little different. It not only connects China to the Middle East and to Europe and to Africa, as it did before, but also to the New World, which is North America, and even excavations in Antarctica, Afghanistan, of course, and Greenland. And these excavations are for the purpose of extracting rare earth minerals for their military industrial complex, which could be used for the artificial intelligence systems. So imagine a dictatorship like the Chinese Communist Party that treats their own people in such a bad way, and puts them in camps, labor camps, slave camps, and even does organ harvesting, to the Falun Dafa people, the Tibetans, the Christian, the Uyghurs, and even people who don't have religion. So imagine they do that when we have a pandemic and they're in control of this BRI. What they can do when they hook up the AI system to this infrastructure on the 5G, 6G systems, they will not only control people with normal geopolitics and policy, but they will have machines and robots and drones to be able to enforce all of this, all their draconian and their tyrannical ways of treating humanity. So that's just one way. In the book, I describe in so many different ways how they threaten the world. Scientists have three levels to describe AI, which is artificial intelligence. The first level is considered artificial narrow intelligence, which covers your smartphones, your IoTs. IoTs means Internet of Things. And your mini chatbots, if you go online and you're waiting to talk to somebody, the computer talks to you because it's a virtual mini chatbot, and even mini robots. So anything that is programmed to have a certain task, that's considered ANI, artificial narrow intelligence. The next level is artificial general intelligence, AGI, which that is the idea, but also they're working on it in China and so many places. One of the companies I mentioned in my book is well, one is Hanson Robotics, but there's a few other ones, especially the one in Hong Kong. So Hanson Robotics is in Hong Kong, and they're working on building AGI, which is making a robot alive, giving it thoughts, emotions, wants, desires, free will, basically like a human being, because they're mapping the human brain. That's artificial general intelligence. Artificial superintelligence is very, very complex. There's many ways to get to it. One way is to extract all of humanity's biometric system. That includes your facial recognition, your voice recognition, and even the way you think, and your family data, your geolocation, and so many different algorithms involved. Once you extract that, you can put them into a machine, and then you can create artificial superintelligence. 5G is, so phones that you've been used to are generally 4G for the past couple of years, 3 to 4 years. 5G is a little different. 5G is not built for humans. It's not built for human beings. It is built for machines, because the speed of it, the millimeter waves, 10, 20, even 100 times can be faster than the 4G service. So you don't need that for cell phone to watch a movie. That's not the reason for it. It's to mobilize machines, robots, drones, flying cars. So that's why it can be militarized as well. And there's not just 5G, it's 6G. 5G is the ground system to build a 6G network and more. So a lot of people have different fears about 5G. I think the 5G system in America is safer than in China, like in Huawei. Not just because the Chinese Communist Party built Huawei and they can control things. No. Because when they build things, they build with cheap labor, or they don't check too well. And they steal information. So the outcome is not good. And it can potentially have bad effects on people in different ways. But in America, they're attempting to build a safer 5G system. But there's other things that risk 5G. Is not just the idea that it poses radiation threats and it's bad for your health. Because if you think about it, would you want cell phone towers and 5G towers next to your little baby, next to your family? It's okay to have in the cities, and you want to mobilize machines and maybe for military purposes, other places. But do you really need to have next to your children, next to your home, next to your babies? I personally don't think that should be the case. The Chinese Communist Party, their global plan is to not only dominate, but I don't think they would use this term, but I would use this term. They want to enslave the world under the Marxist system as it connects to artificial intelligence on the BRI. So President Trump has been the main figure that's been going against the Chinese Communist Party. So supporting President Trump, no matter what, if you're a liberal or conservative or in the middle, is the smart thing to do, because he has a 3-year track record and even a 15-year track record of talking about how China has been doing bad things. The Communist Party has, not the Chinese people. So I think if the world can realize that immediately, and that the Chinese Communist Party threatens everybody, and then why would you want to get an AI system to a government that puts its own people in camps, kills them, steals, So can you trust this system in the hands of the Chinese communist regime? You cannot. It's like giving the best weapon you have and the surveillance systems to see over your house to the murderers that you know they're murderers. Why would you do that? So my message is the entire world needs to understand this, and they need to expose the Chinese Communist Party for the crimes against humanity, and also expose them for this technology, misuse of technology. I recommend everybody get this book. You can go to Amazon. The paperback version is better. There's a lot to learn about here, about not only Chinese companies, but Western companies, how they interconnect. So I think humanity can have a good future, one of enlightenment or peace, if they can eliminate the Chinese Communist Party and really expose them and globally, because they threaten everybody.